what's up? I am Franny B. So basically, I am making this video because I am sick of, number one, being targeted, number two, being gamed, number three, being told I'm an actor or a demon, number four, being seen or misunderstood, being seen in the wrong light or misunderstood. So I'm about to make this video and I'm about to drop a bunch of bombs, things that I have been warned not to share and talk about, but at this point there is so much false media and so much crap going on. Half the people think that this is a simulation or an illusion and that it's not real. The other half the people think it's a game, not realizing that the people that they're playing in the game, once they're gone, they're next to be gamed. Also, like, I realize that our freedom is at stake here. Now, I have had horrible things happen to me. Very horrible things that have a lot to do with all of this that's happening right now. I was a product of Project Stargate. My mother was incubated with me, and I think 79. I wasn't born until 88. And I think that was kind of how, like, the CIA might have, well, it was like, so they say, this is kind of crazy, but I was told, and I didn't catch on very fast to it, but that there was an angel that saved my grandmother from a car accident and a bunch of other stuff, and come to find that that was me, because when I was incubated, I was on another parallel dimension or something. So I'm assuming that my alien slash angelic genetics allowed for time travel, paradigm travel, portal, Stargate type stuff. And I was just a little angel baby on a mission to save lives. Since I have really, like, tried to take that in and see if it's true, I found that it is in many ways, that have even been hard for me to understand, because this is all stuff that I was very heavily mind controlled to not believe, and which was an attempt to, and still is working in some ways, but to take my power away. And not just me, because there's many others like me, and those who aren't like me have power that they've given away as well. And I guess this is partially my fault, in a way. Sorry about that. So, about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, some really strange things started happening. My whole life has been strange, right? Like, the whole thing. It's just constantly thing after thing after thing. I didn't grow up like most people. I was raised around bikers, veterans. My life was a party before I decided to party. But I was a child who was probably one of the more adult maturity levels of all of the people I was around growing up. And I'm talking at 3 to 7, 9 years old. Now, we were always like, there was lots of fighting when I was little, lots of abuse in every way. I was taken from my mom when I was a baby, I think 2 or 3 times. She had us back, and then her and my father were fighting. And there was lots of very strange things that happened when I took some time to start writing stuff down on a board. I come to find that it seems as if I was being sold, and like they were making child pornography. And I did not really finish my timeline, because when I actually looked at it for what it was with everything else that's coming to light right now, I was pretty fucked up. Now, I was taken from my mother by the Catholic Church, St. Paul's, with the assistance of CPS, and I was placed by the Catholic Church after a few months of living with some, like a, I don't want to say priest because he had a wife and a family, but some of the church officials. We stayed with them for almost 4 months, and then they placed us in a foster home. And I want it to be known that the church was who placed us in the foster home, not CPS. CPS was just kind of like the paper trail to follow. Now, rewind, before that, looking back, knowing what I've learned recently, my mother was targeted. I'm going to assume her mom was, but I don't really know. There's a lot that I just don't know, because I don't know my family that well. And my mom was like the black sheep. Now, my mom ran away when she was like 13, I think. She has like a 4th or 5th grade education. And when she ran away, she was hitchhiking across the United States with bands, touring and doing that type of stuff, which is probably how she got involved in the CIA projects. It makes a lot of sense, because she was hanging out with like the Grateful Dead and stuff like that, and they were doing the acid tests with the CIA and so forth. So the timing, it just matches up so well, like it makes so much sense. Now, I know that I am a product of Project Stargate because I was told by a member of our government, who is also a member of the NSA, who also had extensive knowledge on CIA mind control and programs, and was not very happy that I would not become a snitch on my friends. I said, if you want, he wanted me to work for them. And I said, oh, I would love to work for my country and serve the people, but he was like, well, why won't you do this? And I'm like, why don't we stop like the human trafficking or the sex rings or save the children? Like, why don't we have a battle on the like real issues, instead of you just trying to bust like some of my friends who just smoke weed and shit? Like, those aren't the real criminals. So he didn't like that very much, and I mean, he actually, everything that he told me ends up being true. He was trying to warn me about some things, but I also feel like he was 2 different people. Like, one second he was like this God-fearing, like, good man, and then like the next second he was like this controlling, like trying to just mind control me and shit, and like, whatever. I have respect for him. I'm grateful that he has opened up my mind to what's going on. Do I agree with what he agrees with. Not always. Do I respect him enough? Um, so, since I'm sick of dealing with the crap from people, I'm just going to make a video and show that this is my life. I'm not an actor, and what is going on, every bit of what is going on today has affected me for my entire life. And no matter how much I have spoken out about it, I have been belittled. I have been demonized. I've literally felt like my entire life is me fighting against the entire government, police force, military, and sometimes even like space. But some divine hand seems to be guiding things now, a little bit at least, and I'm just going to put it all on Front Street for you guys. So, please do not misunderstand the lack of emotion in this video. For me having a lack of emotion, I sit here and cry all the fucking time, and I don't like to cry in front of people. The things that we are about to talk about are all very fucking tragic, and I am constantly facing them every day, trying to heal myself and real time face the bullshit. So I'm going to start with the weird stuff that started happening. I was getting hit with frequencies. They were trying to map my brain, and they were even like voice to skull stuff. I was followed, like I've always been followed. Multiple of friends of mine have, noticed it with me. Like there's always the same like 20 cars driving around my house. I'm an asset to our country, and I am also what's it called? I'm not really sure what it's called, but just as much as I am a good thing for our country, I can also be seen as exactly the opposite. And I have been weaponized. And I am a starseed, humanoid, mutant type thing that has literally not only somewhat broken out of mind control, but the CIA and other alphabet agencies consider me phenomenon and an anomaly, and are also deathly afraid of me. Why? I'm not fully sure, but I kind of have a little bit of a hint. I'm very nice, kind, and I'm a good person, but I have been abused, raped, manipulated, molested, exploited, and not that I'm naive, maybe I am naive, but I'm not dumb. You just don't know what you don't know, and I can't think or understand from those mind frames of exploiting, demonizing, manipulating people, because, I don't think like that. So when it comes down to me realizing, holy fucking shit, like what these evil people are doing, and then I put on my best shoes, basically, and I try to fix it in a mature way. Well, after 3, 4, 5, 10, a million fucking chances of people saying they're going to change and things aren't going to be like that, I guess I tend to freak out. I think I've caused like a big bang. But just as much as like I could have caused bad things to happen, I've also done many good things. Like I know for a fact that when I was in foster care, my foster father, his name was Timothy Puckmeyer, he was a prisoner of war in Vietnam, and at that point in time when I lived with them, he had lots of health issues coming up specifically from his service, and things like Agent Orange, gangrene, Hep C, liver issues, diabetes. He had to have his leg amputated. He was a very stubborn, hardworking man, so after he had his leg amputated, he ended up breaking his other one. It was horrible, and he was constantly in and out of intensive care, and he nicknamed me Scarlet Rose, and I was like his little nurse, and it was weird because it was almost, looking back now, I see that our connecting through his service, and me as a child knowing about PTSD and having like a solution in some form of a way would allow some sort of a connection that would even take us out of time. And I'm not sure if that's just the way that I see it, or if that was all a military project and I was on a mission really that could have been more mind control, because I remember going to like Hiroshima, but here's what's weird, we were on another planet. It was like we were on Mars and we thought it was Earth, but the real Earth we had to leave because of the radiation. And me being a star being, when you're a galactic, a cosmic being, radiation is necessary. Radiation is what makes space. I'm also an elongated skull being, so like when I start expanding my consciousness, like my head grows off, like a cylinder like grows off the back of my head, like it gets all long and stuff, and you can hear I create like a radiation, and through me expanding my consciousness, it is actually creating space real time. There are astrophysicists that and parapsychologists, psychologists, people of that nature that are also studying me right now and have been for a while, because it seems I'm just some fucking government experiment. But anyways, I went to Hiroshima and with my chakras activated and like was sucking in radiation and like shooting it out to create space. That sounds crazy. I know it does. I don't really care if you think I'm crazy or not. But anyways, I'm gonna fast forward to the stuff this year, because I could literally talk to you guys for hours and hours and days about weird alien shit and strange things that have happened to me and my experiences and being abducted and frequencies and using frequencies to travel dimensions and shielding and all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure you guys could teach me a lot, because there's a lot that I'm still not aware of. We can only know so much when we're only allowed to know so much, and it's being controlled through our internet and so on and so forth. So I started the frequencies. There was somebody following me. I was going to get a new phone because I figured that they were targeting me through my phone. I got this new phone, and one of the people that was following me came in the store, and I'm trying to stay away from him. The T-Mobile worker had the charger that I was getting set aside. This dude was by it. I didn't really think much of it. When I got home, I plugged my charger in, and it was like I instantly had some like sonar type of like superhuman ability like download into my brain, literally. And I could hear specifically where these beeps and sounds were coming from around my house, and I like gridded not only my house but everything that was like under my house. Noticed that there was bases and things under there, and I also started, I guess, gridding Cleveland, and I realized that that there was children and that there was abuse happening in the tunnels, and I could feel it. Now, and I was also noticing the frequency. There was so much coming in, and I couldn't even really express all the things that were coming in. I'm still processing whatever download happened at that point in time. Come to find, this was a rollout 5G technology that I'm assuming a CIA or government official, whoever was following me, somehow switched in the box or whatever. Now, these things, of course, sound crazy. Was that guy a bad guy or a good guy? I don't know. Because bad guys and good guys, they don't really talk to me. Like, there's communication happening, but it's not on a face-to-face, and I never know really what's real. They've literally gamed me and just completely, like, you know, got me so excited, like an ascension's gonna happen, like we're gonna come out of this slavery, you know, they won't continue to exploit, like, all this shit, and then it's just like, build me up, break me down, build me up, break me down, build me up, break me down, to the point where I've said that I was gonna give up so many times. Now,